Hi, and welcome to another episode of Raw Hope. I'm Hopi, and this is my production assistant, Phoebe. And today, we're going to make a classic dessert. It's something that kids will love. It's something that you can use as a snack or a dessert. It's really delicious. It's really easy to make. It's strawberry applesauce. And we'll get started. So these are our ingredients. We've got 5 Barhi dates. If you were using a different kind of date, such as medjool dates that are a little larger, you might want to do just 3 dates. These dates I like a lot because they're softer, and I am soaking them in water to soften them a little further, but you really don't have to. And next we've got 4 apples. I've got 2 pink lady apples and 2 Fuji apples, but you can use any variety of apple that appeals to you, anything that's available in the store, and preferably organic if possible. We've got a cup of frozen strawberries. You can use fresh strawberries too if you want. It's just convenient if you don't have strawberries available. They're usually easy to find frozen and organic, so that's nice. And then we have about a half a teaspoon of freshly ground cinnamon. And then we have half a lemon, and we're just going to give a tiny little squeeze of lemon juice. So you can use even just a little quarter of a lemon, a little wedge will be fine. Alright, so now we're chopping up our ingredients, chopping up the remainder of the apples. I chopped up most of them already. And one of the really nice things about this recipe is that it tastes really appley. Like if you buy applesauce in a store, it usually kind of tastes overly processed. It may have various kinds of sweeteners, may have sugar in it, or corn syrup depending on what you buy. It's usually pasteurized, which in a sense is cooking the fruits. It's heating it up, even if it's only for a very short amount of time. And it just does something to the flavor. This retains that really fresh appley flavor. And if you're a fan of apples, you're really going to appreciate this. So just a word or two about the dates. Some people try to avoid dates because they feel like dates are too rich in sugar and they are trying to avoid carbohydrates. The interesting thing about dates is that as sweet as they are, they're actually very low on the glycemic index. The reason for that is they have a lot of natural fiber. It's not a refined sugar, it's a whole fruit containing its sugar and all of its other nutrients. Dates are also really high in potassium, they're really high in magnesium, and they're very high in calcium. So dates are very nutritious for you. It's a very good alternative to processed sweeteners like sugar and any other type of sweetener that you might want to use. And you can also use the date water once you're done soaking your dates in other recipes. So they're a really good thing to have to stock up on in your kitchen. So now I've taken the pits out of the dates, which is really easy to do because they were soft to begin with, and then I softened them a little further by soaking them. And we're adding them in. I'm just going to add a tiny little squeeze of lemon juice. You don't have to add a lot, just a tiny bit brings out the flavor a little more. And then I'm also going to add my cinnamon. And then the next step is to blend everything up. So as you can see, we have a nice creamy applesauce-y consistency, and then the last step is we're going to add our strawberries. Alright, so now we're adding our strawberries. We're putting a cup. You can add more or less depending on how much you like it, and also you can experiment with different fruits. So you can add raspberries if you prefer that flavor, or you can add blueberries. Play around with different flavors. I happen to think strawberries complement the taste of apples really nicely, and it's a really good kind of dessert type flavor, but definitely try different fruits. So now we're going to blend this up. So there you have it, our delicious strawberry applesauce. This makes enough for about 4 people, 4 average-sized portions, or if you have 2 really hungry people, you can use it as a really big dessert, or even as a meal. You can make this as a breakfast, or if you have one very hungry segment producer named Gotti, he can eat the whole thing in one serving. So I encourage you to try this, try different fruits. It's really delicious, it's really easy, and give it a shot. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Raw Hope. We have our taste tester Phoebe here, and we're going to see if she likes our recipe. Oh, she approves. See, it's good for your whole family. So now I would appreciate it if you would try this recipe, if you would check out my blog, and if you subscribe to my YouTube page. See you again for another episode of Raw Hope.